I'm going to go over a few tips and tricks in this video that I've learned. My apologies for that. I did forget to turn that off. But I'm going to go over a few tips and tricks that I've learned from a lot of the things that I've experienced going through this program. Now, one thing you need to keep in mind, they usually when they are attacking you, right, with these weapons, you will experience different scenario of things. It could be, but you got to pay attention to the bodily symptoms that happen. This could go as from some type, basically let's say the itchiness, itchiness around the nose area, right? Or itchiness around the, some type of itchiness within the throat. If not that, then of course the tinnitus and all that stuff. And this could be just about almost even at any point of the body as well, right? So that can happen. But you see, they manipulate certain parts of the body with these frequencies. This could be around the jaw, around the feet, and the abdomen area. And they sometimes, for me, mostly, they have always tried to elevate my aggression levels, and I just put my foot down every time they do it. I'm not finna be anybody's patsy or pawn for their profit. No, they can go ahead and rot in hell for what they're doing, because that's exactly where they're going. And I'm not saying that out of anger. I'm just saying that out of truth. However, even with me saying that, they still have the option to change their ways, but they have to make that choice. If they don't, then their fate is sealed. Now then, if you experience any of these symptoms to where you're feeling heightened aggression, stuff like that, something that's causing you to elevate your voice, causing you to act out, shut up immediately. Just shut yourself up. I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm trying to be as blunt as I can and as honest as I can with this. Shut yourself up. You got to turn the frequencies that I've mentioned, that it's dealing with both, that kills off the tinnitus, the frequencies that kills off the nano, the stuff that undoes the AI, even in the breathing techniques. You need to utilize those things, because you got to understand, they want you to act out. They want you to be aggressive. They want you to yell. They want you to shout. They want you to talk. They want you to respond. They want you to do all of these things. And they don't care if you get mad. They don't care about any of that, as long as you're still responding. Though if you want to piss them off, don't respond. Don't give in to what they're doing. Don't allow that to happen to you. Don't. Reject all of what that is. Now, I warn you, if you find yourself if you fight against this stuff in this way, which is the best way you can do, they're going to hit you with synthetic, falsified thought processes, meaning that they're implanting fake thoughts into you, and they're hoping you're going to act out on those thoughts that are not yours. This is why they're hoping that the person would confuse these thoughts as their own. But when you detox enough, you can tell it's not your thoughts at all. You'll be able to reject and also deny these things immediately when you hear them. You're not going to set yourself up for someone else's financial gain. You're not going to be anybody else's ticket to the good life. As far as you're concerned, you basically are flicking off the middle finger, telling them that they can basically F off and go back from whence they came, right? Saying that you basically will not be a patsy to anyone. You will not be a freaking scapegoat for nobody. You will not be someone else's excuse for their own fuck-ups. No, you're not going to be anything like that. You're going to be your own man. You're going to be your own woman. You're going to be an independent person. You're going to be up there, and be damned if you'll be victimized by this program. You'd be damned if you allow them to basically do the things that they do to you without you actually putting up a fight. I'm saying to put up a fight, but I'm saying be smart about it. Be smart about it. Because in the end, they want you to act out. They want you to act aggressively. There's a time and place for all types of behaviors. But the most thing that they always want you to do is to do something that can be used to set yourself up. That's what they always want you to do. Whether it could be acting aggressively towards somebody, it could be acting out towards someone, verbal threats, stuff like this and stuff like that. If anybody is telling you to act like that to another individual, that person is most likely trying to get you in trouble. That's exactly what that is. That person is trying to get you in some deep trouble. If someone is giving you advice like that, you got to cut them off. I know it's hard, especially how bad the isolation can be, but you got to do that, man. Because they don't, if someone's telling you to do anything like that and that would be harmful to someone else off of something incredibly small, that's an obvious, indication of them trying to set you up. And you should never, ever act on such things or even accept such advices, because that's a bad advice. And you got to question, why are they giving you such bad advice, right? You got to really question that. What's the purpose of that? Because in the end, a lot of my experiences dealt with these perpetrators trying to set me up to be the bad guy, and I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that occupation. No, I'm not. That label doesn't fit with my character. So I don't know why they seek to try to keep bringing it around when it doesn't, where it doesn't belong. But I would say that it's quite questionable for people to do, try to keep trying to do such a thing. And that's when it gets, you see, stuff like that catches up with them. Because, like, okay, they tried this several different times, but now, what the fuck, right? Now, why is it that this is a repeated process that's happening in the midst of your presence to wherever you're going when you're just minding your own business, right? Why? It's the same old script over and over and over again. They will send people to get you to try to trigger you into a response. They will send people to try to ask specific questions of you in order to basically try to aggravate you in some kind of way. But the thing is, you got to keep in mind, you have no obligation to talk to anybody. You have no obligation to answer anybody. It doesn't matter what the fuck they think. In the end, it's your choice whether to speak or not. Because in the end, you do have the right to remain silent. Whether you're talking to a common citizen or a police officer, you still have that right. You're not obligated to ask anyone's questions. You're not obligated to basically play the script of which they lay out there. But at times they're going to F with some things so badly that, you got no choice but to respond. And it's, if they can't do one thing, they're going to find something else. Even if they fuck with the resources, even if they fuck with the collateral, you must understand it ain't about that. It is about you. You could abandon every single bit of that crap and they would still come after you, because I know damn well they're making plenty of money off this stuff, so that ain't the problem. The thing is, they need the stuff that is allowing them to make that kind of money, right? Which is the brain interface technology, which is the bio data, the bio data that they get off of the illegal experimentations that they do on us through this torture program. That's what they're after. They can't get that crap unless you are within certain vicinities, right? They need you to be exposed to high levels of radiation. They need you to be around areas that has Wi-Fi nodes all over the place. They need you to be in a vicinity to where it has a lot of connections of satellites, and everybody has a phone around you, and everybody else has all of this stuff, all these smart meters, all these cell towers, all of this stuff built out around the place. They need you to be around crap like that. The more you extract yourself from an environment like that, the harder it is for them. And as twisted as this is, they don't, they want to fuck you out of everything you can possibly think of, but they don't want you to abandon the system. If a person doesn't have the mentality to say, fuck, F this and leave the city and leave the system entirely, and they go live off grid, then they're going to, they're going to basically roll over and just destroy every possible aspect of funds the person will ever have, right? They will do that. But if the person has the mentality to say, screw this and go out, live on the grid to where they have no control, and they, it gets to the point to where, being exposed to the elements take hold, because that's a hell of a lot more stronger than these weapons can. I was able to disrupt their multi-million-dollar technology with a simple freaking rare earth magnet. That's only what, like $6? Come on, man. Seriously. We were able to make devices that can disrupt this stuff that cost so much less. Made out of common things you would find around, and you would find just everyday things you would find laying around. A bucket, copper wire. What else? An AC/DC adapter, stuff like that. All stuff like that. And then you're able to just detox this junk out of your system. But let me tell you something. If you feel like there's something that they're screwing around with, and then you feel that there's elevated levels of aggression, stop everything that you're doing immediately. Just stop. Learn how to stop yourself immediately, because what they're trying to do is get you to act out. Remember, you didn't invite any of them into your life. They basically rudely invited themselves, right? That's exactly what they did. Do not allow these assholes to profit off of you. Don't. And I know that's hard to say, but the simple truth is that there are ways for you to basically make this stuff difficult for them. Very, very difficult. Now, I'm going to go into a simple explanation of several things that I've done and what I've learned about this program based off my own experiences. Around a while ago, let's say maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I had actually disappeared off their radar twice. The first time I disappeared off their radar, and this was unintentional, apparently they had started this huge noise campaign. They had the ambulances out there. They had the fire department, the police. They had a lot of these different sections of public service out there, right? They had a lot of these things. And one thing people need to keep in mind, they're not in the when it comes to a doctor, they're not in the they're sure they profit off of people who need treatment, but they don't profit off of curing people. They profit only of patching the illness up by basically allowing it to sustain a simple ground to where like they would have to come back and get repatched, and for a repeated process. Therefore they continue to make money. It's the same thing what the police do. They're hired to stop crime, yet they basically cause and create crime in order to have an excuse to keep a job, as well as to make even extra money, under the table kind of money, through organized crime. A lot of this stuff is compartmentalized, so anybody who would have any sense of decency and morality, they are completely oblivious to almost all of it. And if they ever find out about it and they start whistleblowing, they get basically targeted no different than any of us have. That's exactly what happens. They don't want us basically speaking how intelligent we really are. This is why they basically fuck with us with these frequencies as much as they can. They want to slur your words. They want to get you to swear. They want to get you to be aggravated, angry. They want you to get you to be in a way to where you don't make sense. They want to get you to talk about nonsense subjects when it comes to all of these these attacks, because they know how intelligent you really are, and they fear that. They fear all of it. This is why they come after so many of us, because we are indeed a threat to this whole damn matrix. We are a threat to everything that they have done, because of us even going out trying to have kids of our own and basically selling it down. That's enough to where information is passed down. Whatever we've learned how to protect ourselves, detox this junk, this poisons out of ourselves, all of this stuff, that is knowledge that can be passed down to the next generation that they don't want happening, because it undoes the whole agenda of what they want. And they want a population of zombies, people who basically bend over backwards for the system, kissing Uncle Sam's ass and being at Uncle Sam's beck and call, basically being the very whore of the system. I'm not interested in such a lifestyle. People get off from basically being paid off these this clout or whatever the hell they want to call it, right? These things that they get, whether it be money, collateral. But you see, you're selling your soul for something like that, for something that is not eternal, something that is just going to eventually be destroyed, and not only destroyed in the long run, but it's, something that's replaceable while your soul is not replaceable. But they do it anyway, as if like it's not a big deal. They don't think eternity, non-ending, is a serious matter, and it is. It truly is. Suffering, unending torment is a serious thing, but they act like they just don't take it seriously. I'll admit there are some people out there who do not know what they do, but we got a group. There's also a group of people out there who actually knows full damn well what they do. They're fully well aware of it, and they still choose to do it regardless of anything, right? They still choose to go about their ways to do all of this heinous activity as far as setting us up or trying to basically torment us as much as possible. Now, the first thing that I've done a while back was I had, as I mentioned, I was able to disappear off of their radar, and they sent all of these different factions of public service out to basically, cause an uproar and cause a huge, massive noise harassment campaign. Biggest one I've ever seen in my life. And then I find out that this has actually happened with someone else. So it was the biggest noise campaign I've ever seen in my life. They had all of these different vehicles out there, multiple police cars, multiple ambulances, multiple fire trucks out there, circling around one building, which was just a few buildings away from my apartment unit. And I approached it, right, not knowing what this was, and it's like it was nothing serious. They said it was something serious, but that was a lie. Find out later on, same situation, right? But with someone else. They're saying that they went through the exact same experience. They had a huge noise harassment going on. And the thing is, you know how ridiculous that is, though? Like, just think about it, how much they practically charge people an arm and a leg just to drive in a freaking ambulance, man. I'm not kidding. Like, that is highway robbery for them to just go out and just utilize these vehicles in such a manner, right? The fact that they would do that. And the thing is, this isn't, this whole system is not about helping the people. No, it's about how to get as much, it's only about how to profit off of the people. That's exactly what it is. They're not out there trying to save lives. They're out there trying to profit off of lives, whether it means their inevitable death or it means they live through unending torment. That's exactly what this crap is. And it's fucked up, man. We got people out there who are consenting to this kind of activity. It really is. It's unfair because as us growing up, when we're first born into this world, we don't know anything about what's going on out here. No one does. So the fact that we got a group of factions out here doing crap like this, there's no telling what the hell is going to happen. We don't know who we can trust and who we can't, other than our parents. But then again, our parents could very well even be involved in this program too, right? And then they would easily just throw us into the fray without a second thought. And that has happened. It has. Now, for the second time, I disappeared off their grid, off their radar. This time it was intentional. I intentionally did it. It was early in the morning, like around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I hid in a bush after I had gotten off of work. And I started noticing all these vehicles basically just going around up and down the street, even up in the front of this what is that, a medical clinic? It was a medical clinic, and they were going up and down the streets like crazy, right? Like they were looking for something. It was the same cars passing by every few times. And the thing is, this street was, both of these streets were incredibly long. It took a while just to drive from one end to the next, let alone doing a complete circle. Now, even with all that being said, I had waited for about a good 30 minutes, maybe to an hour or so. I decided to step out, and I waited for one of them to get ready to pass by, and I did, right? It was a white vehicle passing by, so as I'm walking out, the guy sees me, he slams on his brakes. He slams on his freaking brakes. Sees me, and it does an immediate turn into the actual street I was on. They were looking for me the entire time. Even if they can get your actual GPS location, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to know exactly where you are in that area. They have to look for you. They have to look for you. So that's when I got to thinking. If they have to rely on GPS so much, right, you can use something like that to fool them. Let's say you were to basically dump something that they were tracking, right, on a movable object such as a train, a subway, a bus, city bus, or even leave it in a taxi, anything like this, right? Let's say you were to do something like that, but then you basically cut off at a moment where they wouldn't even expect, and they don't know where the heck you went. The thing is, if you get off the radar of this system, don't take no phone, don't carry no phone, don't carry no debit cards, don't carry nothing with a chip, nothing like that. Don't carry no kind of electronic devices that connect to the net, because they will use that to find you. Now, a lot of people talk about implants, but the thing is, why, if they got you implanted, why do they gotta fuck with your phone, right? That's the other thing, a question. Why do they got to go through your net? Why do they got to put you on a network in order to still F with you, right? So the whole thing about still being able to track you, even if you're chipped, I can't 100% answer that, because I don't even know if I myself am chipped. I don't know. I have no clue of how long I have been in this program. I do have my suspicions. I do believe my mother was once a part of this program a long time ago as a hired perp. And apparently at some point she probably got a sense of morality back, and she, basically rebelled against this system, and they went after her as a result. And because of them going after her, they inevitably came after both me and my sister. The reason why I say this is because the same situation of my mom keeping out of contact with the family is the same behavior that followed through with both me and my sis. Every time it's the same thing. People dropping hints. Like they just keep out of contact. They don't know what's going on with them. They don't call. They don't accept their calls. They don't even call. They don't do any of this thing. The only thing that brought me and my sister back together was the death of our mother. That was it. And I'm finding out my damn brother is actually an instrument of this damn program because of that, and because of the level of the extent of how they try to use my family against me. I made damn certain documented everything I did. But you see, I don't want to get into all that, but I thought it was at least, good to mention it at the least. I also made sure to make that they have links to this channel, so they will hear this. I have undeniable proof, recordings, and video of all the activity that took place when they were getting them to basically try to set me up, when they were getting them to try to transport me to a whole other area that is pretty damn clearly highly more controlled and stuff like that, right? And how they also had a family member, gaslighting me. Not one, not two, not three, but four. So, another trick I've learned is that deception with them, they're just as vulnerable to deception as anything. But you see, this is why they want to keep an eye on everything you do. They want to know exactly what the heck you bought, what color it is, what brand, what size, you name it. They want to know all about this stuff. Every detail about everything you get from everything you buy. Why? Because disguises, as old as that trick is, they still work. They still do. A person could basically disguise themselves to look completely different, but you got to remember, this stuff cannot be documented on their radar. The phone that you carry, if it uses Google, if it uses Facebook, and even if it has YouTube on it, that's still a product of Google, and Google is still a highly invested company into AI. Even if you just have cell phone services, it's just as bad, because damn near all the cell phone network companies are highly invested in this damn program. All of them are. So it's very difficult to to try to stay anonymous when it comes to this, but you start to understand why some people really do go for that. And it's to not only cover their tracks, but it's to also hide from a totalitarianism based system that seeks to just profit off of people. And then you got these jackasses trying to play as heroes on a TV screen when they're not. They're practically murderers, man. They're murderers advertising their bullshit, but they're covering up under the lie of safety, and it's not for safety. It ain't for safety. It's the farthest thing from it. So, because of one of the jobs I had, the getup I was wearing, it covered up damn near my whole body. Because of the other stuff I was wearing, it covered up my face, my hands, and all that. So when you got a group of people dressed the same type of way, walking around, it makes it difficult to tell who was who. And this is a prime example of what happened with me. Because of this very situation, I actually caught up with some perps that didn't know that I was the targeted individual, right? They didn't know that I was the target. They thought I was one of them. They made that stupid mistake thinking I was one of them, and they almost let some information slip. They almost did. You think these people are not vulnerable? You are sadly mistaken. They are even more vulnerable than anything I have ever seen in my life. Very vulnerable. Even more so because of how desperate this system is on secrecy. To hell whatever the heck they got to say about me. To hell to whatever the hell they got to say about anybody else. This effing company has been responsible for deaths, dude. Responsible for murder. Of all people of many ages. Many ages. And they have done this for decades. There ain't nothing you can say to justify that. Period. Nothing. Not a damn thing. We probably have distant relatives that we're not even aware of who are also victims of this. They rely on disinformation. They rely on, deception, lies, deceitfulness, and people's ignorance. People choose to hate off the most ridiculous, because for the most ridiculous reasons. But then when you go to ask them, why is it that you actually hate this? You want to know why? The thing, even if they come up with a reason, that same reason is a lie. Why? Because they weren't born to hate. They were taught to hate. That's how it's been. Because of the social morale and the direction it's being basically being pushed in. That's why people learn to hate. That's why people learn to act the way that they do, because they want to do that crap to fit in. And the only reason why they want to fit in is because these same assholes have gone out there and fucked up the families. They have fucked up things so badly that a man and a woman can't even live together in peace. That's how fucked up it is. You can't even settle down without something of this damn system invading its way into your life. You can't even settle down and live in peace. That's how bad it is. And then you're gonna have pompous jackasses out there basically wanting to deny everything, not tell the truth of everything, and just support this whole system built upon lies and more lies, of more deception and more of the most disgusting, deplorable, toxified industries of all of everything that it's had its mitts in that you can possibly think of. And let me tell you something. When I say that, I'm talking about the food, I'm talking about the water, I'm talking about the sewage system, I'm talking about every systematic thing out there you can possibly imagine that people use on a day-to-day. You don't believe me? Well, look at 99% of everything that is made in the U.S. We see all these issues with China, right? Well, where is all this crap coming from? China. Where's a lot of these clothes? We're seeing a lot of this nanotechnology dealing with China, right? But where's a lot of the clothing coming from, right? China. Where's a lot of the medical industry, medical supplies coming from? China. Where is a lot of the bathroom utilities, such as the usual stuff you would have in your medicine cabinet, like your Q-tips? Not just that, your Band-Aid, a lot of that kind of stuff. A lot of this junk is coming from there. But what has China proven itself to be? A massive communist country. But even with that said, I'm not trying to say that the whole thing of China, every single Chinaman is a communist. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the government is, and they have a group of people within their citizens that are like that and are comfortable with that. But there is a portion of their citizens that are not like that and are not comfortable with that kind of lifestyle. They're not for that. They don't want anything to do with that. They know that shit. That's why they're trying to basically desperately censor every single thing of the media so people don't see it. It's very rare that any of their stuff gets through, but when it does, it's devastating. It really is, because it shows you the type of life they are basically forced to live under, the barbarianism that's being allowed to happen. Let me tell you something though. If you are a targeted individual and you basically sneak off their radar, you break off their systems, they are going to flip out. They are.